Welcome back to the #1 sportscast in the world, where we give full card predictions and a betting breakdown. Make sure you guys smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Turn on those post notifications and share this video as well. UFC 311, Makhachev versus
Tsarukyan.
I'm looking forward to breaking down this card, but before we do that, let's go ahead and recap our picks from UFC Vegas 101.
Absolutely, Martin, and it was a tough night for our picks. 14 fights last Saturday, Martin, and our picks went 8-6, but our bets went 1-1 to profit half a unit on the night. We had a 2-leg parlay with Karakate and Kopylov, hit that gain a little bit over a unit. Then I took a half unit shot on the under in Carlson Harris's fight. Man, we missed that by a few minutes, man. So we came close. The read was good there, but we lost the under 2.5 by a few minutes there. Ponzinibbio's fight ends in the 3rd round, and yeah, man, it was a good week of fights. Like I said, our picks went 8-6, and our bets went 1-1 for profit for over a little bit of a half unit. So we're already 1 for 1 on the year with our bets. So yeah, looking forward to UFC 311, man. So many good fights on this card, and yeah, looking forward to it, man. Let's get to it. And the very first fight of the night, man, we have Tagir Ulanbekov taking on Clayton Carpenter. Tagir comes in with a 15-2 record, currently sitting at -325 on the money line. He's 33 years old, 5'7" with a 70-inch reach. He's fighting the young prospect, undefeated Clayton Carpenter, who comes in with the undefeated 8-0 record, currently +260 on the money line. He is 28 years old, 5'6" with a 66-inch reach. Now, I think that this is, first of all, the first fight of the night because Tagir's Khabib's cousin, and they want to get, Khabib in there, get this guy, his fight done so he can go corner the co-main and main event later in the night. So right away, we're going to see Team Khabib's impact on this card. And that line is crazy, man. -325 or higher at this point for Tagir. And I get it. This is a bit of a weird match-made fight, in my opinion. Tagir should be fighting someone a little bit more of a higher echelon fighter, in my opinion, than Clayton Carpenter. And then Clayton Carpenter is getting a huge step up in competition here, bro. He's fighting the Candelarios of the world. And now he's fighting someone as skilled as Tagir Ulanbekov. So it's going to be a tough fight, but I just don't see how Clayton wins this fight. He's a good fighter. Don't get me wrong. Undefeated 8-0 prospect, really good guy, but he's super inactive. I really wonder why he hasn't been fighting as much. I wonder if he had a big surgery or he was out with an injury, because he should be fighting more, man. He's young, he's 28 years old, undefeated, and he's a good fighter, man. He had a very good fighter in Contender Series against a tough fighter as well. But in this fight, I just don't think he can grapple with Tagir. I think that Tagir will end up on top of Clayton Carpenter throughout this fight. And it comes down to, can he finish Clayton Carpenter or not? On the feet, I do think that Tagir provides a little bit of a challenge with his size and his length for Clayton. And I think that the grappling is just too much here for Clayton. So I'm going with Tagir here. I'm going to go with him to win via decision. I wouldn't be shocked if he ends up finding a submission, because I do think that he will win the grappling exchanges in this fight. And I think that Team Khabib starts the night 1-0 and gets on the board quick here. So give me Tagir Ulanbekov for the win via decision. And the next fight, we have Ricky Turcios taking on Bernardo Sopaj. Turcios comes in with a 12-4 record. He is +280 on the money line. He is 31 years old, 5'9", with a 71-inch reach. He's fighting Bernardo Sopaj, who comes in with an 11-3 record, currently -355 on the money line. Comes in 24 years old, 5'6", with a 66-inch reach. So a little bit of a size advantage here for Ricky. He will be the taller, longer guy, but I'm surprised again at that money line. We're going to see this as a big theme throughout the night, more on huge favorites, -300 or higher. I believe there's 14 fights and only 2 of them have -200 or less odds. So right there, if you pull up Ricky Turcios again, the fight we're actually talking about right now, he's a good fighter, but I just don't think that he's skilled enough to match Sopaj. Sopaj's coming off getting brutally knocked out, though, dude. In that fight against Vinicius in his last fight, he ended up on a highlight reel, probably the highlight of the year, KO of the year, if it wasn't for Max Holloway, knocking out Gaethje the way he did. But anyway, dude, can we turn that down a little bit? So we have Ricky coming in, and I just don't think that he can grapple Sopaj for 2 out of 3 rounds. And while his output can be good at times, man, sometimes he just doesn't throw. Ricky's the type of guy that can land 100 strikes per fight, and he's also a guy that can land, you know, closer to 30. So I think that this fight is a pretty, you know, relatively high volatile fight, but I just don't agree with that line, man. Do I think that Ricky's gonna win this fight as a big underdog? No, I can't get behind him. I don't think he's that skilled of a fighter, but I'm going with Sopaj to win this fight, and I think that he's gonna win a decision in this fight. I don't see him finishing Ricky. Ricky's a pretty durable guy. He has really good heart, really good durability, and he has enough scrambles to not get submitted in this fight. So I'm going with Sopaj to win this fight. I'm going with Sopaj to win via 3-round decision. On to the next fight, bro. Who we got? Oh, we have a really good one, man. Up next, we have the Japanese sensation, Rinya Nakamura, undefeated, taking on Muin Gafarov. Nakamura comes in undefeated, 9-0, and he's currently minus 450 on the money line. This dude is a savage wrestler. He comes in 29 years old, 5'7", with a 68-inch reach. He's taking on Gafarov, who has a 19-6 record, currently plus 330 on the money line. He comes in 28 years old, 5'7", with a 68-inch reach. Now, man, where do I start with Nakamura, dude? This guy was a U20 national wrestling team member with Japan, and I don't care if it's folk style modern, freestyle wrestling. If you're winning trials for Team Japan, man, you can wrestle your butt off, man. This guy is relentless with his grappling, very strong in the grappling exchanges, and he's just an overall relentless grappler. And that's the thing with Gafarov. I know he's from Tajikistan, and we think that a lot of those guys, you know, from that part of the world have really good grappling, and they do. But the way to beat Gafarov, man, is you gotta take him down. You gotta get your hands locked and get these takedowns, and I think that Nakamura will be able to do that. But again, another huge favorite, a minus 450 favorite, and I just think that that's way too high. I think that Nakamura can be had on the feet. I think his striking defense isn't the best, and I think that strike for strike on the feet for 15 minutes, Gafarov has a real chance to outstrike Nakamura. But it's just that grappling, man, that wrestling credential, like that high level grappling that Nakamura brings. I just can't go against it. To me, it comes down to, can he get a dominant position and get a ground and pound finish, or at least make Gafarov give up his back, sink those hooks in, and find a submission. Man, it's really hard, you know, to pick someone as a minus 450 favorite and have a lot of confidence that he's gonna win via finish, because I don't know, I think that Gafarov can really defend these submissions and keep him off him, but I don't think it's gonna be enough for Gafarov to win. I'm going with the favorite, huge favorite, Nakamura, to stay undefeated, continue his rise in the UFC, and get a nice win in this fight. But I'm going with a submission win in round 3 late for Nakamura here. And up next, I think we have the Karo Rosas fight, Martin. Okay, let me pull it up. Man, I wish the odds were reversed on this fight, dude. We have Karo Rosa taking on Eileen Perez. Karo Rosa comes in with an 18-6 record, currently minus 185 on the money line. She's 30 years old, 5'5", with a 67.5-inch reach. She's fighting Eileen Perez, who comes in with an 11-2 record, currently plus 155 on the money line. She is 30 years old, 5'5", with a 66-inch reach. Now, honestly, I expected Perez to be the favorite coming into this fight, and I thought we were going to get a good opportunity here to fade Eileen Perez. But man, Rosa comes in as a favorite, which really sucks because I wanted to bet her and fade Eileen Perez. I faded Eileen Perez and lost in her last fight, but I feel like she was there to be had, man. The thing with Perez is she's a really good grappler, right? She wants to wrestle, she wants to shoot these takedowns, and if she doesn't get it, man, she's gonna keep trying. That's the thing with her. She does fail on takedown attempts, but she'll try and try again. Her striking is not the best. It's pretty rudimentary. I believe she has super flat feet when she strikes. I believe that she is slow on the feet. I believe that Karo Rosa definitely has a striking advantage in this fight. It's just that Karo Rosa will have to defend a bunch of takedowns in this fight, and I can see a world where she ends up on her back, bro. And in that case, I want to be laying, you know, minus 2-1 odds here on this girl, because I do think that she can give up the takedowns to Perez. It's just that, can Perez's cardio hold up for 3 rounds in this fight? Can Perez take her down for 2 out of the 3 rounds to secure a decision win? I don't know, man. I feel like that's a big risk. I wish the line wasn't this wide, or else I'd be gambling here on Rosa's money line. But I just believe that minus 185 is a little bit too much for me, considering their skill sets, considering the path that Perez does have to win here. But for my pick, bro, I'm gonna pick Rosa here. I just think her striking is good enough to land damage, out volume Perez, and land more frequently throughout the fight. And it all comes down to, can she defend the takedowns of Fiona Perez, man? It really sucks that Perez is really obsessed with twerking after she wins. How come Mackenzie Dern can't be obsessed with twerking when she wins? Instead, we get Fiona, Perez here. So give me Rosas to win via decision. And I think that's gonna be a really close fight considering the takedown attempts we'll see here from Perez. On to the next fight, bro. Okay. Up next, let's see who we got. Oh, we have a really good one again, man. This whole card is really good, dude. We have Grant Dawson taking on Diego Ferreira. Grant Dawson comes in with a 22-2-1 record, currently minus 300 on the money line. He is 30 years old, 5'10", with a 72-inch reach. He's fighting Diego Ferreira, who comes in with a 19-5 record, plus 240 on the money line, 40 years old, 5'9", with a 74-inch reach. Now, man, I wish Diego wasn't so old. He's 40 years old at this point, and I just can't back him in this fight. But bro, Martin, skill for skill, he can make this interesting. Grant Dawson is a relentless grappler. Very good takedowns, very good side control, top control when he gets you down. And lately, he's been really implementing some ground and pound, which is a really good addition to his game. The thing is, Diego's a very good defensive grappler in his own right. Even when he does get taken down, dude, I believe he has the reversals and the sweeps to make every single fight interesting. He's been in there with good grapplers like Gillespie before. He's been in there with Gamrot before. I mean, I know he's losing those fights, but he has fought this type of fighter in Grant Dawson. We've seen Grant Dawson beat Chinny. We've seen him get knocked out by Bobby Green in less than a minute. This guy can be had as well. I just really think that Diego, if he gets taken down, can work those get-ups, man. I think he can get those that knee shield up and high and really get these sweeps. Man, he had an insane get-up against Rubeski in his last fight where he just chucked him off, basically kicked him off him. It was insane. But the thing is, Grant Dawson will be going the whole fight. All 15 minutes, he'll be trying to get these takedowns, and I think that he will be landing these takedowns. Again, minus 300 just seems too much because I really like the defensive grappling from Diego Ferreira. He's shown against high-level fighters he can hang with them in the scrambles. Can Grant Dawson secure 2 rounds? Does he get tired in this fight? Those are the questions that I have, coming into this fight. At minus 300, I just don't think I can get to it. But I want to see how Ferreira does off his back here against someone like Dawson. He's very strong on top, strong hips, and like I said, he's been working that ground and pound more and more throughout his fight. So a good fight here for Grant Dawson. I know he got knocked out by Bobby Green, got an easy layup fight in his next fight. This isn't so easy. This is not so easy money like Moicano says, but I think he does get the win. American Top Team here will secure the win. Give me Grant Dawson. Give me Grant Dawson by a 3rd round TKO stoppage via ground and pound. Up next, who we got? We have a short notice replacement fight here, Martin. This fight just got made today. We have Zach Reese taking on Azamat Makhachev. Reese comes in with the 8-1 record, 30 years old, 6'4", with a 77-inch reach. Makhachev comes in with the 18-3 record, 29 years old, 5'11", with a 72-inch reach. Now right there, as you can see, I didn't read the odds because they're not out yet. This fight just got made a few hours ago, and it's because Reese's opponent, Cedric Dumas, pulled out, and now they found a late short notice replacement fight here for Zach Reese to stay on the card. Now, I would expect Zach Reese to be a favorite in this fight. My guess is that he's going to be around minus 200 when this betting line does come out. And I'll be honest, bro, the fact that this got made a few hours ago, I haven't done much tape on this guy. I don't know much about him. I know that he was in the LFA. I know that he had a split decision versus Dylan Butka, who isn't the best fighter. I'll say that for sure. So one of those fights where I'm definitely gonna have to look more into this guy. I was gonna pick Zachary Reese against Rodriguez Dumas, so he doesn't have that going for him. Zachary Reese obviously will be the guy, on a full camp here. I wonder if this Russian dude is from Habib's gym or if he's from somewhere else. I believe some American Top Team, so he has no relation to Habib. But credit to the UFC for fighting Zachary Reese, an opponent, this late into fight week. We're already on Monday night, and they're able to scramble together and get this guy a fight. So credit to both these guys for accepting this fight. Like I said, don't know much about this dude because he just got signed today, but I'm gonna pick Zachary Reese, the guy on full camp. But who knows, maybe the tape shows us something that obviously we don't know yet. But for the most part, early pick, no tape done on the other guy. Give me Zachary Reese, and looking forward to doing tape on the other dude. But shout out to the UFC for even booking this fight and keeping Zachary Reese on the card. Up next, we have a sick heavyweight fight, bro. We have Jailton Almeida taking on Sergey Spivak. Jailton Almeida comes in with a 21-3 record, currently minus 400 on the money line. Unreal. 33 years old, 6'3", with a 79-inch reach. He's fighting Sergey Spivak, who comes in with a 17-4 record, currently plus 310 on the money line. 29 years old, 6'3", with a 78-inch reach. Now, this is a grappler's delight, man. Who's going to have the grappling advantage in this fight? I think it's going to be Jailton Almeida. Sergey Spivak's a very good grappler in his own right, but I just haven't seen him do well enough off his back. Very rarely does Sergey Spivak end up on his back with both shoulder blades on the mat, and that's exactly where Jailton Almeida, in my opinion, is going to put him. Jailton Almeida is a freak athlete for the heavyweight division, man. He's fast, he's quick, very powerful on the feet. But the thing with him is he's using his wrestling, man. He's using his grappling to out-grapple these fat, slow, out-of-shape heavyweights, and he's just murking right through him. It's kind of funny to see Jailton Almeida, come in at weigh-ins. Sometimes I've seen him weigh in at 205 for a heavyweight fight. I've seen him weigh in at 220 for a heavyweight fight. But in his last fight, he bulked up, man. He came in at 240. He actually weighed in heavier than Spivak did in his last fight. But Spivak has that good judo. He has those good trips inside the clinch. And it comes down to who will win the grappling exchanges, because they don't expect this fight to stay on the feet for long, man. Both these fighters really like to implement their grappling on their opponents, so it's going to be interesting to see who has the upside in this fight. For me, I'm going with Jailton Almeida because I do think that once he does end up on top, man, he's going to look like $1,000,000. I know that he couldn't really finish, Derek Lewis when he got on top, and Spivak easily did. But I just think that that's Derek Lewis's body type, man. He's just so big and fat. It's hard to submit the dude. But yeah, man, it's going to be a sick fight. Jailton Almeida, obviously got finished by Curtis Blades. I think he's learned a lot from that fight. Give me Jailton Almeida at minus 400. Those odds surprise me, man. I thought he was going to be around minus 250. I do think that Jailton should be the favorite. I think that he will win this fight. I think that he's going to finish Sergey Spivak in this fight. But man, if Spivak can defend those takedowns, I think that he might be able to get some of his own. So interested to see how the cardio holds up for both guys. I don't expect us to see the judges' scorecards. I expect someone to get finished in this fight. But for me, it's going to be Spivak. So give me Jailton Almeida via ground and pound finish or submission in round 2. Up next, we have another banger of a fight, dude. We have a fight between Peyton Talbot and Raoni Barcelos. Peyton Talbot comes in undefeated 9-0, currently the biggest favorite on the card. He is minus 1,400 on the money line, bro. Unbelievable. $1,400 to win 100 on this guy. Unreal. He comes in 26 years old, 5'10", with a 70-inch reach. He's fighting Raoni Barcelos, who comes in with an 18-5 record, currently plus 775 on the money line, 37 years old, 5'7", with a 67-inch reach. Now, that's just absurd, man. Minus 1,400 in an MMA fight, I just can't do it. Sure, do I think Peyton Talbot is a really good prospect and might even be a future champion one day? Absolutely. This guy has all the goods. There's really nothing that he has shown in his UFC career that makes me want to fade him. I think he's going to win this fight, but that price is just absurd, man. Raoni Barcelos is very skilled. He's a lifelong grappler, coral belt in jiu-jitsu, very good wrestler, was on the Brazilian wrestling team, and he can strike, man. Very good Muay Thai. He's getting up there in age though, almost 40 years old, and he's taking damage. I think that he's gonna get knocked out in this fight. I just feel like that's a lazy take, but I just can't see it, man. I can't see him out grappling Talbot, putting him on his back. I just think that he's gonna strike with Talbot for 15 minutes and at some point get caught. I think that Talbot has everything going in his favor here. Rising prospect on a pay-per-view, looking better each and every fight, still super young, and he's getting these fights in. So until he shows me otherwise, I'm picking him to win, man. Give me Peyton Talbot via knockout in round 2. I think he's going to continue his stardom, continue his rise, and really make a name on this pay-per-view. So much respect to Raoni Barcelos. Like I said, very skilled, very good everywhere, but I just don't think it's going to be enough at this point in his career. Man, I think he's getting fed to the slaughter here. So give me Peyton Talbot via KO in round 2. And up next, we have another short notice replacement fight between Bogdan. Hold on, let me pull it up. My phone's lagging. We have a fight between Bogdan Guskov, the Anthony Smith lookalike mutant, and Billy Alekana, another guy that they just signed today, Martin. This guy got signed about a few hours ago because, again, we had a fight where Johnny Walker was the original opponent for Guskov here, and they found this guy on short notice here to take this fight and keep this guy on the card. So credit again to the UFC. Guskov comes in with a 16-3 record, 32 years old, 6'3", with a 76-inch reach, while Billy comes in with a 7-1 record, 29 years old, 6'2", with a 77-inch reach. Yeah, I don't know much about this guy. Like I said, just got booked a few hours ago. I'm assuming Guskov's gonna knock this dude's heads off silly and get a knockout finish, but without doing any tape study, it's hard to make a confident pick for you guys. So I gotta look into this one more. Like I said, it just got made a few hours ago, but I'm going with Bogdan here to get this knockout. I was gonna pick him against Johnny Walker. I thought he was gonna be able to knock out Johnny Walker in that fight, and clearly I believe that this is a lower tier of opponent. This guy is on a week's notice, 5 days notice here, he can take in the fight. So give me Guskov to win that fight via knockout, but I still gotta do tape on that Billy guy because I don't know much about him. Now it's time for the main card, man. Very good main card opening here between Kevin Holland and Reiner de Ridder. Holland comes in with a 26-12 record, currently minus 120 on the money line. He is 32 years old, 6'3" with an 81-inch reach. RDR comes in with the 18-2 record, currently plus 100 on the money line. 6'4" with a 78-inch reach. Now this is a great fight because I wonder how it's going to play out, Martin. Does Kevin Holland have enough here to keep this fight on the feet? Because I think RDR in the beginning of this fight is gonna get takedowns, man, and we've seen that's how you beat Kevin Holland, man. He gets put on his back and he gets submitted by better fighters. There's no reason for RDR to want to strike with Kevin Holland. Clearly, in my opinion, Kevin Holland is the more dangerous striker in this fight. I think that the speed is just way too much here for RDR on the feet. I think he's gonna be getting touched up for as long as it stays on the feet. So I expect RDR to shoot these takedowns early and often. My worry here for RDR is his gas tank. You know, he came over from one championship where he was a two-time champion in 2 divisions, and he got Gerald Meerschaert in his UFC debut. And don't get me wrong, GMP is a good fighter, very experienced, very good grappling, but that's someone you should roll right through. And that fight was close, man. He ended up getting the finish in round 3, but he was tired, Martin. After 5 minutes, 7 minutes into that fight, this guy was huffing and puffing, and I don't think Kevin Holland's gonna be getting tired, man. I think Kevin Holland will be there for all 3 rounds. I can really see a path for victory here for Kevin Holland if he's able to stay on his feet, deny these takedowns, and just pick apart RDR. I wouldn't be shocked if Kevin Holland actually finishes RDR in that 3rd round, but that's the thing. Can he survive on the mat? I just don't think so. I think RDR is way bigger, way stronger, way better of a grappler than Kevin Holland, and I just think that the takedowns will come early in this fight. I think that once RDR establishes top control, side control, he's going to be working Kevin Holland. But honestly, bro, he has 1, maybe 2 rounds to do it, because I don't think he's going to do it in round 3. Like I said, if your cardio is not holding up against someone like GM3 who poses no striking threat, man, I worry about someone like fighting someone like Kevin Holland here. So close fight, a pick him for a reason, the most closest line fight on the entire card, and I think that's for a reason here. But I'm going with RDR. I think he's going to be the favorite by the time the fight starts. I think the line's going to flip. I think that money's going to be coming in on RDR, and who knows, maybe some comeback here late in the week on Kevin Holland. But for right now, I'm going with the underdog. My first underdog pick will be RDR to win via submission in that 1st round. Up next, man, we have a banger of a fight. 2 older 155ers, I will say, but this should be a banger nonetheless. We have Beneil Dariush taking on Money Moicano. Beneil Dariush comes in 22-6-1, currently plus 165 on the money line, 35 years old, 5'10" with a 72-inch reach. He's fighting Money Moicano, who comes in with a 25-1 record, currently minus 200 on the money line, 35 years old, 5'11" with a 72-inch reach. Now, these guys are evenly skilled, man. I'm surprised to see that line up to minus 200 on Moicano. I faded Moicano in his last fight, and he made me pay, man. I had Benat Saint Denis in that fight, and Moicano ended up like popping his collarbone, getting injured, and still working BDS in his home country. What a warrior Moicano is, and he's on a run. Both these guys are up there in age, man. 35 years old for both of them, and I know they're the exact same age, but career-wise and damage-wise, Moicano is ascending and Beneil's declining. Now, I'll give Beneil a break. He's losing to the top guys. He got knocked out by Armin, got knocked out by Charles, and those are the top of the division. Those are the big dogs, man. Those are top 3 in the division. And Moicano, skill for skill, I don't really see an area where he's vastly better than Beneil Dariush. Can he strike with him? I think it's even. Can he grapple with him? I think it's even. And if anything, I might give Beneil a little bit better of an edge in the grappling than Moicano, but the durability, I'm going with in favor of Moicano there. I think that Moicano is way more durable. I think that he can take damage more and fight through damage more than Beneil at this point in his career. But like I said, I know we've seen Beneil look bad, but that's against top level guys. So do I think Moicano is on the level of someone like Charles Oliveira? I don't. Do I think that he's on the level of someone like Armin, who's fighting for the belt later on this card? I don't. But do I think that Moicano is going to win this fight? I do. I think that he's gonna win this fight, get on the mic and say some crazy stuff. For as much as everyone wants to make, you know, a big deal out of Beneil Dariush's age, I really think, Martin, that it's because he has white hair. He has like legit white hair on his head for the last like 3 years, so he looks old, man. I mean, and he is old. He's 35 years old. But so is Moicano, man. Moicano's 34, gonna be turning 35 soon, and they're only born like 15 days apart. So in fight outland Beneil over the 3 rounds here. I'm really excited to see how Beneil decides to fight this fight, but at the end of the day, we're picking winners here. We're making picks. I'm going with Money Moicano to win this fight and secure his fight next with Paddy Pimblett. The winner of this fight is fighting Paddy Pimblett, and I think it's going to be Moicano. So I think the UFC wants him to win. I think he will win, and I think he's going to win this fight via decision. Up next, man, we have an absolute banger. Someone's getting slept in this fight. We have Jiri Prochazka taking on Jamal Hill. Prochazka comes in with a 35-1 record, currently -110 even. Pick him here on the money line. He's 32 years old, 6'3" with an 80-inch reach. He's fighting Jamal Hill, 2 former champions in this fight actually, who comes in with a 12-2 record, again -110. Pick him here on the gambling line. He is 33 years old, 6'4" with a 79-inch reach. Both these guys coming off getting absolutely slept by Alex Pereira. But man, Jiri got knocked out by Alex Pereira not too long ago, and that was a really tough knockout to watch, because at the end of the first round, Pereira drops him clean, boom, lands a 6-shot, and Jiri goes down. But Jiri gets saved by the bell, and so he gets to stand up and continue to the next round. But he was out cold, man. He was knocked out, stumbling and fumbling on the way to the stairs or chair. And then the next round starts, and you're kind of just watching this dude thinking, oh my gosh, he's gonna get slept right here any second. And sure enough, the first strike that Alex throws in round 2, boom, head kick flush, sick knockout. You know, Jiri goes down like a, you know, bunch of, like a tree really, and just gets slept. And that was not too long ago, man. I don't like when guys get slept like that, get, you know, take severe brain damage like that and come back so quickly. I understand he wants to, you know, get back in the title race here, title contention, and fight. What up, MMA Clips? We got the homies in the chat right now. What up, bro? Yeah, dude, so I think that Jiri took a ton of damage not too long ago, and I think it's going to affect him in this fight. Jamal Hill also got slept by Alex Pereira, man. So, you know, it's hard to be like, oh, this guy took a ton of damage when so did Jamal Hill. Jamal Hill got sent to a shadow run, man. He got turned to those funny, like, those things you see outside the car dealerships, those things that wave in the sky. That was Jamal Hill when he got hit by Alex Pereira. But to me, the striking in this fight is one way. Jamal Hill, way more technical, way more clean with his striking, his boxing combinations, his output goes to Jamal Hill. I'll give him that in this fight. Whereas Jiri's striking is much more orthodox, Martin. His hands are by his hips. He's throwing from all weird angles. He's throwing unorthodox combinations, and he really hurts you, man. One thing I really like about Jiri Prochazka is that when he hurts his opponent and you get stunned, man, he rushes you. He's really good at closing the distance once he has you hurt, and I just think that it's not going to be enough here. I'm going with Jamal Hill. I'm hoping that Jiri Prochazka ends up being the favorite. I'm hoping that money comes in on him so I can pick him to win via so I can pick Jamal Hill to win as an underdog. But for me, I'm going with Jamal Hill because, like I said, the striking, I feel like I can rely on it more than someone like Jiri. The brain damage, the damage that Jiri took not too long ago makes me not want to bet on him, and the fact that I can count on Jamal Hill's output and even some grappling if he decides to mix it in really makes me favor Jamal Hill in this fight. So far, he might be my first bet of the night, will be Jamal Hill's money line, because like I said, his boxing is too clean, the output's too much, and I just don't like the unorthodox striking from Jiri Prochazka to land that one shot. I feel like he's too KO reliant here in this fight, and I think that Jamal Hill will be on a mission to prove all the haters wrong. I know a lot of people don't like him because of how he takes his losses, how he acts on social media, but forget all that, man. We got to think about how he actually fights, and for that reason, I'm picking Jamal Hill to win this fight via decision. A really quick side note about that fight, it's a 3-round fight and not a 5-round fight. Both these guys have been fighting a ton of 5-round fights lately, so I'm going to be interested to see how it plays out in a 3-round fight. But again, I think the 3-round favors Jamal Hill. I think that the output, you know, will be too much for Jiri. Give me Jamal Hill. Give me Jamal Hill via decision.
MMA Clips said, love the fight to end by KO. I'm not gonna pick a side. I wonder what those odds are on that.
Very good question and very good read. I really like that. I agree with him, and I think that That's a good look, man. I think that someone's gonna get slept. We have the old gloves again now, dude. MMA clips in the chat. So I really do think that that lends itself to a knockout. Maybe under 2.5 or fight doesn't go. I feel like the odds for fight to end in KO are gonna be better than both the under 2.5 and the fight not to go the distance. So that's a good look to get your odds a little bit better, you know, than, you know, a typical fight doesn't go the distance or a typical under 2.5. But it's a very good read. I do think that someone's gonna get slept in that fight, bro. Good read. Oh yes, now it's time for the co-main event, man. Team Khabib in the house. We have the reigning defending bantamweight champion Merab the Machine Dvalishvili taking on Umar Nurmagomedov. Man, such a good fight, one of the best fights we can make in the UFC. Let's get right into it. Merab comes in as the champion, 18-4, currently plus 260, disrespectful on the money line. 34 years old, 5'6" with a 68-inch reach. It's fighting Umar Nurmagomedov, the young eagle, who comes in undefeated, 18-0, minus 350 on the money line currently, 29 years old, 5'8" with a 69-inch reach. Now, how often do we see this, Martin? How often do we see the defending champion come in as a plus 250 underdog with a challenger coming in almost 4-1 favorite? Oh man, it's tough not to even be enticed here for a Merab moneyline bet, because at the end of the day, Martin, we're betting numbers. We want value. We want a bet that the books get wrong, and I think that this line is just flat out wrong. Do I think that Umar is a skilled fighter? Of course. He can grapple, he can wrestle, he can strike, very good kicks, very good punching combinations, good power too, very good fight IQ, very good, you know, stamina and durability here for Umar. He has everything you would want in a prospect, and he's coached by one of the best fighters ever in Khabib, been training since he's a young kid under Nurmagomedov. But then you have Merab, bro, who also has everything you need: super crazy durability, super good cardio, relentless takedowns, very good grappling, decent enough striking to make you think about the takedowns, and that's his style, man. What's interesting about Merab and someone like Bilal Muhammad is that they pressure you with strikes. They definitely throw stuff out there, but that really makes people uncomfortable, and they shell up. When you shell up to block strikes, guess what? Guess where your hands are not? They're not by your hips. So that's when he shoots in and takes you down. And regardless if you stuff that takedown or not, you basically always either end up on the ground or with your back against the cage. And these guys are too good of cage wrestlers to do that. But the thing is, Umar is not that. Umar is not your typical opponent. This guy is a beast in the grappling. Obviously, he's been around Khabib his whole life. One thing I gotta say though, guys, for this fight and the next fight, my main key factor is to watch the grips. Watch the grips of both these guys. Umar Nurmagomedov came off a win against Corey Sandhagen in his last fight, a 5-round decision win, his first 5-round fight where it went all 5 rounds, and he showed he can go all 5 rounds, implement a good game plan, and really implement his game to win a fight. But the thing that really worries me, at least in that fight, that might worry me here in this fight, was Corey Sandhagen was defending the takedowns. He was getting up, but the main thing was he was defending those grips, man. 2-on-1, hands on one hand, trying to separate the hands from Umar, and then separate again at distance. The thing was, Umar was too good, and he got right back to it. So I think that Merab, the way he fights, the way he wants to just purely wrestle, won't work in this fight. He's gonna be forced to strike, and in that scenario, you gotta go with Umar, man. This guy's striking is way too good. The striking is unreal. The speed, the kicks, the boxing, it's just all there. He's crisp, man. This guy's been on a path to be UFC champion since the day he got in the UFC, and now I think it's his time, man. But like I said though, at the end of the day, we want valuable bets, and I think that this line to lay a unit on Merab is not the craziest look. I just don't think that his game plan, his game style will work on someone like Umar. I think there's a reason why he didn't want to fight Umar. He was begging to fight Sean O'Malley. He even wanted to fight Peter Yan, and I think there's a reason for that. I know he's a syndicate guy. I know he's training with our boy Shane Shapiro, and I know he's going to be ready, but I just can't get to it, man. Give me Umar, give me and new. Khabib gets his first title fight win of the night, and I think that Umar wins this fight via decision, but I wouldn't be shocked, guys, hot take, if he finishes Merab Dvalishvili. I think that at some point he can hurt Merab, but I do think that he's going to have enough output, enough strikes here, and enough takedown defense to really, make his mark and win a decision in this fight. Unfortunately for Umar, his title run will end on Saturday. Umar Nurmagomedov and new. And now it's time for the main event, the reason why we all will watch this fight on Saturday. We have the UFC lightweight belt on the line as Islam Makhachev takes on Arman Tsarukyan. Islam Makhachev comes in, the champion, reigning 155 champion, with a 26-1 record, currently minus 410 on the money line, 33 years old, 5'10", with a 70.5-inch reach. The challenger, Arman Tsarukyan, comes in with a 22-3 record, currently plus 320 on the money line, 28 years old, with 5'7" in height, with a 72.5-inch reach. Now, this is a rematch. Everyone wants to make a big deal out of their first fight. Arman took his UFC debut on short notice and he got Islam, man. Imagine that. Imagine you get to call a fight in the UFC on short notice and the guy you have to fight is Islam Makhachev. At the time, everyone didn't know who he was. They just thought he was Khabib's buddy, his training partner and everything. But Islam's the truth, man. Honestly, one of the best fighters in the UFC, if not pound for pound, the best fighter. And what's interesting about Islam is he's getting better, man. If you look at his last 4 fights and compare them to his previous 4 fights, everything is better. His striking is better. His wrestling is better. His submissions are better. One thing that really separates Islam from someone like Khabib, in my opinion, is his ability to finish the submissions. This guy can really implement the head and arm choke from side control, and this guy's back is just unreal. The grip strength he has, the submission strength he has, is just on another planet. I mean, Bobby Green straight up accused this guy of using steroids for how strong he was. So Islam's grappling is as good as it gets. But I will say, man, his striking has really impressed me as well. If you watch the Dustin Poirier fight, if you watch the first Alex Volkanovski fight, and even the Charles fight, his striking is getting better fight to fight. He's really getting crisper and better with his boxing. Early in his career, Islam was throwing wide shots. His jab was super wide. His hooks were super telegraphed. But now he's sharpened up, man. He is tight. I really like the advancements he's made in his striking game, much more so than someone like Arman. Arman, honestly, bro, probably should have, and might have lost his last fight against Charles Oliveira. If that was a 5-round fight, Charles probably wins that fight. He almost got submitted twice by Charles Oliveira, and don't get me wrong, Charles Oliveira has the most submissions wins in UFC history, so that's not a knock on him. He ended up getting out of that submission twice, but I just don't think that he's going to be able to survive those areas, those positions against someone like Islam. I will say though, man, again, minus 400 on Islam. Oof, man, I don't know. I'm getting really close to laying a moneyline bet here on Arman. The worst thing that could happen, we obviously lose a unit there on Arman, but I don't think that Islam should be a minus 400 favorite. For one, I think it's going to go all 5 rounds. I think that neither guy's going to get finished in this fight. I think that they're both capable enough grapplers to not get submitted, not give up their backs, not make mistakes, and end up in a vulnerable position. And on the feet, I don't think that either one's going to get knocked out. We've seen Islam obviously get knocked out and dropped. Even Alex Volkanovski 2 fights ago dropped him. He's a 145er. And Arman is very wiry, man. He throws those axe kicks, he throws spinning kicks. I just don't think that he's gonna land enough volume on Islam to win the striking exchanges. At the end of the fight, I don't expect Arman to be the one with more strikes landed. But let's not forget, man, Martin, last fight, Islam Makhachev was a minus 500 favorite against Dustin Poirier. That fight was 2-2 going into round 5. And in the beginning of round 5, Dustin was looking good. There's been moments against Volkanovski that first time, against Poirier in his last fight, where we saw the quote-unquote great grappling of Islam really get nullified. We've seen him get stuffed on takedowns. We've seen opponents get up with switches. We've seen people reverse Islam, and I think Arman can do it, man. I think Arman can scramble with this guy. I think he can out-grapple Islam at moments. I think he's improved vastly, much more so than his first fight on short notice against Islam. And since then, man, I've been saying Arman's going to be champion one day. Arman's going to be champ. The thing is, Alex came in during John's time, and that's what I fear is happening here to Arman, bro. I think that it's Islam's time. I think he's going to reign, as champion at 155, for a few years here. If he wins and defeats Arman Martin, he will be the first person ever to win 5 155 title fights. The first person ever to win 5 fights for a belt at 155 in the UFC's history. It's never been done before. Not even Khabib did it. So obviously he's a high level fighter and really a legend. I do think that he's a pound for pound best fighter in the UFC. I'm gonna pick him. I'm gonna pick him to win and still, but for betting purposes, guys, I actually might bet here on Arman because I do think it's gonna be close. I think we're gonna see the judges get involved here, but at the end of the day, I think we do hear Islam Makhachev and still, and I'm gonna go via decision. That'll do it, guys. That's all 14 fights for UFC 311 broken down. Appreciate you guys in the chat. Shout out to MMA Clips. We'll get to your comments after the show as well. But yeah, man, really appreciate you guys. It's our second live stream. They're only going to get better and better every single time. So we're getting used to the kinks and getting everything sorted out. But man, UFC 311 is going to be a banger of a fight. Those lines are super wide, guys. You got to be careful on your bets. Maybe look at some props. But so far, the only bet I'm locking is Jamal Hill's money line. And yeah, man, good luck on your bets. We really appreciate all the support. And I'll see you guys next week. Peace.